Is Billy Donovan to blame for all the blown losses the Chicago Bulls have seen in the last recent weeks? We got to talk about it. And then we got a few injury updates regarding Dalen Terry and Torrey Craig. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it down right after this, because you got to hear the music first. Cognac. Gang. Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's episode of Shy Boys Podcast. If you tune in with me this morning, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, before we get into the main topic, talking about these Bulls blown losses, we got to talk about the injury updates. For Dalen Terry, he took a bad fall in last night's game. It didn't look too good versus the Toronto Raptors. My guy, he took a bad fall. You had a player land on his ankle, and it just wasn't good to the point to where he couldn't put any pressure on that ankle. He went back. They said X-rays were negative, and that more testing will be done, and then he might miss some extended period of time. So that's good news that we didn't hear or read anything that was saying that Dalen Terry had anything that was broken or anything like that. There might be some structural damage there. I'm not a doctor, but that's just me assuming. There might be a little bit of damage there, especially with the way that the ankle was positioned when he fell and when the guy fell on him. So that's something to be concerned about. And we'll keep our eyes open for that once we find out. You know that we got you right over here on Shy Boys Podcast. Now, Torrey Craig, head coach Billy Donovan pretty much came out and said that Torrey Craig is inching closer and closer to returning. And that's a good thing. We definitely need all the bodies that we can get with all the Bulls players that keep falling to the injury bug. They keep getting bitten by the injury bug, and guys keep going down. So Torrey Craig, who's just recently had his first non-contact practice, he's doing pretty well. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys updated on that as well. Now, the Chicago Bulls took a 118-107 loss to the Toronto Raptors last night in a game to where the Bulls were up by 16 points. This is not the first example of the Chicago Bulls blowing leads in the last few weeks, so I got to bring it up. Is Billy Donovan to blame for the Bulls' blown losses for the last few weeks? Look, the blame can go to the players. The blame can go to how the roster is constructed, and the blame will go to Billy Donovan. He's the driver of the ship. He's the driver of the car, the bus, whatever mode of transportation that you want to use. So most of the blame will go to Billy Donovan. And it's a lot of things that Billy Donovan continues to do that just makes my head itch. You know what I'm saying? But to this point, it is nothing new with Billy Donovan. I am not someone who believes Billy Donovan is a great coach. I believe he's good. Yeah, more so just slightly above average in my personal opinion. Some guys may view him a little bit lower. Some guys may view him a little bit higher. And there are things that we have to consider when we talking about roster construction, et cetera, et cetera. But what good coaches do, great coaches do, good to great coaches, they put their guys in the best positions to win. And every single year that Billy Donovan has been head coach for the Chicago Bulls, the number one thing that I have always questioned Billy Donovan is actually two things. It's his adjustments and it's his rotations. The rotations typically, at some point, Billy Donovan tries to go out and see if he can figure something out for what the opposing team is doing to him. If the adjustment is not working, Billy Donovan typically likes to stick with it until it's absolutely too late and the Chicago Bulls are absolutely bleeding and you can't stop the artery from being cut. So the Bulls eventually fall in said basketball game. The rotations. Look, last night, the Bulls trotted out the Drummond Nikola Vucevic lineup. It was okay. But then you talk about in the second half, Billy Donovan trotted out Javon Carter and kept him out there for what I believe is too damn long. That's just what I believe. And then you kept your two of your best players on the bench for an extended period of time while things were getting out of hand. Like, it's just ridiculous. The late game stuff. We had Ayo Dosunmu, who pretty much started the game, who pretty much started the game going off. You see the Chicago Bulls go away from him towards the end of the game. You see DeMar DeRozan was having trouble bringing up the ball, and the Toronto Raptors were doubling him, and there was no adjustment on that to say, hey, Kobe, initiate the offense. Hey, Alex Caruso, get involved. Or, hey, Ayo Dosunmu was on the court with Kobe White. Hey, one of you guys initiate the offense. I understand that you want to trust DeMar DeRozan in those moments, and rightfully so. He's earned it. He's one of the best scorers in the fourth for a reason. And a few years ago, he was the king of the fourth for a reason. But when you constantly allow a team to W the moment you cross half court and you don't have any contingency plans to get the ball out of DeMar DeRozan's hands, you got guys just standing there, or you got DeMar DeRozan waiting too late to pass out of the trap, it spells for disaster. Yes, that's on the player, but you as the coach need to put foot in the asses. That's just what it comes down to. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. For the last few weeks, we played the Toronto Raptors. We had a lead against them last night. We lost. We had a lead on January 22nd versus the Phoenix Suns. We lost. You know what I'm saying? We was never really close against the Cleveland Cavs. We lost. We were up against the Golden State Warriors on January 12th. We were up on them. We lost. And that's the type of thing that has come into play in recent weeks with this team and head coach Billy Donovan. You cannot continuously let go of the rope. I understand you're dealing with young players, but at some point, the coach has to handle the brunt of the criticism that's coming from everything that he's pretty much doing. You have to put guys in the best position to where they can succeed. My thing is, where is the resources to help Kobe White when he goes against certain teams who specifically game plan for him? I understand Kobe White has to figure things out on his own because he's, that starter again as the point guard. But you as the coach have to put your players in the best positions, correct? Yes or no? You have to. And for me personally, I don't think Kobe White necessarily had a terrible game. I believe the game was all right for Kobe White with the way that they were defending him and trying to rush him off the line and the way that they were crowding the paint on his drives. Kobe White was still effective in ways. He was still able to play make. So down the stretch, I wanted to see Billy Donovan trust him. DeMar DeRozan, you came out and said that you trust Kobe White. If Kobe White comes to you and says, hey, I want to run this play, or hey, I want to take advantage of this, I'm not saying he should come to you in those moments, especially last night, and say, hey, I want to take a shot now. No, because he didn't have it going. But I do feel like, in part, with the relationships between DeMar, Billy, and Kobe, there should have been discussion to say, hey, they're blitzing you across half court. They're not going to let you win this game. Kobe White initiates some offense. DeMar DeRozan, get to a spot. We going to find you some area that's not so crowded or congested. That's the type of coaching we need. Corrective actions throughout the game. The game plans coming into the games this season have been solid. Hence why the Bulls have been in winning positions at the start of the games. The downfall for the Chicago Bulls have typically came in the second half. To where the opposing team adjusts. The Bulls didn't adjust, or if they tried to adjust, they tried to stick to the damn plan instead of saying, yeah, this is not working. I want to win this game. Let's make sure that we are good to go. We're going to try something different. I understand there are limitations with this roster. There are limitations because I tell you this, if the Bulls had a legit three-point specialist, it wouldn't have been so many traps on DeMar DeRozan in those last few minutes of the fourth quarter if that legit three-point specialist was available. And I also believe last night could have been an example to at least explore your options with Ayo Dosunmu. He had it going last night. He had it going from the 3-point line and going downhill. He was the guy. He was the X factor for last night's game. That's just what it is. He was the X factor for last night's game. The Bulls did not ride the hot hand, and that's how it all went down and ended in a horrible loss against a team that was 1-9 in their last 10 games. It's crazy, ain't it? It's crazy. So this, like, man, as Bulls fans, it get a little frustrating. Not even gonna lie to you. It gets very, very frustrating watching things like this. Simply because the owner and front office has said we're gonna be competitive. And as long as we see competitiveness, they don't give a shit. And that's what it comes down to. The competitive nature is, hey, our team, we're in the play-in. Hey, our team's in the play-in. We don't give a shit about being a 4th seed or at least a 6th seed. We don't care. Our team's competitive. Look at them. Look at them. We get riled up, because we Bulls fans by heart. You know what I'm saying? We're going to cheer on the squad. We're going to cheer on the team. We're going to vouch for the young players. We're going to want to say that we want to do certain things. We're going to go ahead and rally around each other and say, hey, trade this core. We want to see the young players. They're going to say, nah, we want to be competitive so we can keep the seats filled. As long as we in the play-in, we good, right? That's how I'm looking at it. That's just how I'm looking at it. So in all, man, Billy Donovan, he's definitely a huge blame for the Bulls' blown losses that we've seen in the last few weeks. Definitely all season. Not the only reason, though. Let's make that clear. Not the only reason. He's not the only one that deserves blame. Players deserve blame too. Nikola Vucevic has not been good in January. He's been mid to bad, like literally. He ain't been good. DeMar DeRozan. I like DeMar DeRozan. But at times, he gets caught up in his own way. He gets stuck. He's stuck in his ways. He slows that tempo down at wrong points of the game. Last night, bad turnovers in crucial moments of the game. Decision making when other guys have it going. Shot selection. I know a lot of the times we get hyped up because he's shooting over guys in the mid-range, but sometimes that takes teammates out of the play, in my opinion. I understand that Patrick Williams is down, and that's an additional player, and Zach LaVine is down as well. Torrey Craig is out. But the Bulls, these games, they should be winning, bro. You shouldn't have lost last night. That's just how I look at it. So the majority of the blame goes to the coach. Some blame goes to the players. But majority of that blame is going to go to the coach. That's just for me. But hey, that's it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe before you get up out of here. If you want to call in and leave a take and be a part of a mailbag episode, call in 773-242-9219. This is another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Cognac. Gang.